The stars were silent when humanity's first deep spaceship left Earth. It was not a mighty fleet, not an armada of war. It was one lonely ship. The Erebus. Old, patched, and slow compared to alien crafts. But it carried something more valuable than speed or weapons. It carried a promise to reach the unknown and to prove that humans were not afraid of the dark. Out in the deep void, hundreds of alien civilizations watched. Their signals crossed the galaxy like whispers. To them, humans were young, barely able to stand, let alone run. They laughed at the lonely ship, calling it a toy. Some even placed wagers on how long before it broke apart or got swallowed by the emptiness. But inside the Erebus, there was no laughter. Only silence and determination. Commander Rourke stood at the observation window, staring at the endless sea of stars. His crew of 15 worked in shifts, keeping the engines humming and the old life support systems alive. Every creak of the hull reminded them how fragile their journey was. And yet, they pressed forward. Status. Rourke's voice was calm, but his eyes were sharp. Stable, Commander. Shields are holding. No sign of hostiles, replied Ensign Mira, though her hands shook slightly as she read the scans. They had been picking up strange signals for hours, bursts of alien code that almost sounded like laughter. The truth was simple. The galaxy did not fear humans. It didn't respect them either. And now, word had spread. A single human ship was passing through disputed territories, a place where powerful empires played deadly games. Predators circled. Rourke knew it. The crew knew it. But what the galaxy didn't know, what no one knew, was that the Erebus was not just a scout ship. It carried a secret. A technology that humanity had sworn to hide until the right moment. Something that could turn prey into predator. Something that could change everything. Then it happened. An alarm ripped through the ship. Red lights flashed across the control deck. A foreign craft had appeared on long-range sensors, moving fast. Too fast. Identify. Rourke barked. Unknown design, Mira answered, her voice tense. Speed, 7 times ours. Armaments, heavy plasma arrays. They're coming straight for us. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. They all knew what this was. A test. An alien warlord, or worse, a scavenger ship, wanted to make an example out of the humans. One small ship would be easy prey. Open a channel, Rourke ordered. The alien ship responded instantly. A tall, insectoid figure filled the holographic display. Its mandibles clicked in amusement. Little ape ship, it hissed in broken galactic trade. You fly where you do not belong. Leave your vessel. Surrender your cargo. Maybe we spare your lives. Some of the crew froze. Others looked at Rourke. His face showed no fear, only thought. Then, in a calm voice, he said, "No." The alien hissed louder, almost laughing. "No. Then your death will be first, of many." The transmission ended. The enemy ship accelerated, its weapons locking onto the Erebus. Energy spikes lit up the scanners. The first shot would come within seconds. But Rourke did not panic. He turned to his crew, eyes steady, and said, "Initiate Protocol Orion." Gasps filled the deck. Protocol Orion was supposed to be a myth, something whispered about in secret labs back on Earth. But now, the crew saw their commander was serious. Mira swallowed hard. "Commander, if we do this, there's no going back." "There was never going back," Rourke replied. "Do it." The ship groaned as hidden systems powered up, systems the galaxy had never seen before. Deep inside the core of the Erebus, something ancient, something new, and something terrifying began to awaken. The alien ship closed in, preparing to fire. The crew could see its weapons glowing, energy building to a deadly peak. The first shot streaked through space like a spear of fire, heading straight for the Erebus. But before it hit, the human ship moved. Not with engines. Not with speed. But with something else. Space bent around it. Stars blurred. For one impossible moment, the Erebus vanished, only to reappear behind the alien ship. The enemy pilot froze. Confusion flashed across its mandibles. Then, for the first time in this region of space, the galaxy witnessed humanity's secret. A blinding wave of energy erupted from the Erebus, tearing across the void. It was not plasma, not lasers, not anything the galaxy had seen before. The alien ship never stood a chance. It shattered like glass, fragments scattering into the darkness. Inside the control deck, silence fell. The crew stared at the stars, breathing hard, hearts pounding. Rourke only said one thing. Send the message. Mira hesitated. To who? To everyone, Rourke answered. Let the galaxy know. Humanity is here. Far beyond, across alien networks and communication grids, the laughter stopped. And for the first time, fear began to spread. The galaxy was no longer laughing. The destruction of the alien warship had spread across networks faster than light. Every species that had mocked humanity now replayed the footage with growing unease. A small, outdated human ship had performed impossible maneuvers and unleashed a weapon no one could explain. In the grand halls of alien empires, debates erupted. Was this a fluke? Was the alien ship weak? Or had humanity revealed only the smallest part of its true power? But in the void, the Erebus moved in silence, drifting toward a dead system known only as R7. There, a relay station waited, hidden, ancient, and connected to something bigger than anyone imagined. Inside the command deck, tension hung thick. The crew had not slept since the battle. Some whispered about what they had unleashed. Others feared retaliation. Commander Rourke stood alone by the window, watching the stars as if waiting for them to answer. Message response, he asked. Ensign Mira checked her console. Confirmed. Galactic feeds are exploding. Half think we're bluffing. The other half believe we're dangerous. Rourke's lips curved slightly. Good. Fear buys us time. But fear also painted a target. An alarm suddenly blared. Long-range sensors lit up like a storm. Multiple signatures. Fast. Organized. Not scavengers this time. Something worse. Mira swallowed. Commander, we've got a fleet incoming. How many? 5 ships. No. 7. Heavy-class destroyers. All armed. The crew exchanged grim looks. A single alien craft had been dangerous enough. But 7 destroyers? Even with Protocol Orion, even with the mysterious weapon, survival seemed impossible. Which empire? Rourke asked. Mira hesitated. Not one. 3 different empires. They're cooperating. Rourke's brow furrowed. That was rare. Alien empires rarely trusted each other enough to work together. But humanity had changed the rules. Now, old rivals were joining hands to eliminate a new threat before it grew. The fleet was closing fast. On the lead ship, Admiral Thress of the Vokhtar Empire watched the holographic feed of the human vessel. Its small size amused him. Its recent victory did not. Primitive or not, Thress hissed, they struck first. That cannot be allowed. A smaller, feathered alien spoke from another ship. Agreed. If they can build one weapon, they can build more. We will erase them before they spread. Back on the Erebus, the crew prepared. Shields at maximum. Weapon cores charging. But the truth was brutal. They could fire their new weapon only once before cooldown. Against 7 destroyers, that was not enough. Commander, Chief Engineer Vance spoke up, his voice low. Even if we take down 1 or 2, the rest will rip us apart. Rourke said nothing. He looked out at the stars, calculating. The alien fleet entered visual range, surrounding the Erebus in a loose net. Energy weapons locked on. Missiles primed. The command deck of the human ship went silent, save for the soft hum of the weapon core charging. Then a transmission came through. It was Admiral Thress. His sharp, reptilian eyes gleamed with cruel amusement. "Humans," he said in a cold tone. "You were given a chance to live as children. Instead, you played with fire. You destroyed one of our own. Now, you will learn the cost." The channel cut. Weapons began to charge. But Rourke raised his hand. "Not yet," he said softly. "Wait." The crew looked at him like he was insane. 7 ships. No allies. No chance. What could waiting do? Then, something happened. The void around Erebus shimmered. Space rippled like water. And from the distortion, a second human ship appeared. Sleek. Black. Larger than Erebus. Its hull shimmered with strange energy patterns no alien scanner could read. The alien fleet froze. This was not supposed to be possible. Humanity was supposed to have one ship. One. The second vessel transmitted a single, simple message across all channels. "You are not the only ones watching." Before the aliens could react, the new ship released a pulse, stronger than what the Erebus had used. Not an attack. Something stranger. Every alien system, every scanner, every weapon, went dark. Powerless. Blind. In the sudden darkness of their own ships, the alien captains realized something terrifying. Humanity was not testing a weapon. Humanity was testing them. Inside the Erebus, Rourke finally spoke. "Send a second message. Let the galaxy know. This is only the beginning." The galaxy was restless. In the aftermath of the second encounter, the alien fleets limped home in silence. Their ships, once symbols of dominance, had been reduced to powerless husks before regaining control. Not a single shot had been fired after the pulse. Yet the message was clear: humanity could disarm them at will. On distant worlds, panic spread. On others, anger boiled. But in the highest chambers of power, something more dangerous took root: fear mixed with curiosity. An emergency council was called. Not by one empire, but by the Concord of Nine, a rare gathering of the galaxy's oldest powers. Their massive chamber, floating above a blue gas giant, had seen only a handful of such meetings in thousands of years. Representatives took their seats, scaled, feathered, furred, and exoskeletal. Admiral Thress was there, his pride wounded but his voice sharp. "We must act now," he growled, claws scraping the metal table. "These creatures have weapons beyond reason. If they are allowed to grow, they will shatter our balance." A voice from the shadows answered. Deep, slow, ancient. "Or, they will reshape it." All eyes turned to the speaker, an elder from the Zorati Collective, a race known for watching history more than fighting it. His silver eyes blinked once. "Tell me, Thress, how old is this human race?" Thress hissed. "Barely out of their cradle. One of the youngest species in recorded history." The Zorati elder leaned forward. "And yet, they have technology that nullifies your ships? Your weapons? Your power?" Uneasy murmurs filled the chamber. The implication hung heavy. No young species should have such tools. "Unless they found something," another representative whispered. "Something ancient. Something forbidden." Back aboard the Erebus, the crew was unaware of the council's debate. They had reached R7, the silent system beyond mapped space. A dead sun hung in the center, its planets nothing more than cracked rocks and drifting ice. But the relay station, hidden within the asteroid belt, was alive. Its design was not human, nor alien. It was older. Rourke stood before the sealed doors of the station, his helmet reflecting faint blue lights. Behind him, Mira asked the question on everyone's mind. "Sir, how long has Earth known about this?" Rourke exhaled slowly, fogging his visor. "Since before the Ark War. Since before our first jump drive. We've been studying fragments for decades. But no one outside Black Projects knew, until now." Inside, the station hummed with strange energy. Rourke approached the central console, a massive, half-organic construct, its patterns glowing like starlight. The crew stared in awe. "What is it?" Vance asked quietly. Rourke placed his hand on the console. It pulsed in response, as if recognizing him. "It's not a weapon," he said. "It's a key." The console flared to life, sending a pulse of light rippling across the asteroid belt. And in that instant, the relay activated, connecting to other stations, hidden across the galaxy. Silent watchers woke. Unknown to the crew, that same pulse reached the Concorde chamber. Alarms screamed. Panels lit up with data streams showing energy surges in multiple sectors. The Zorati elder closed his eyes slowly. "So, it begins." Admiral Thress slammed his claws against the table. "What begins? Speak clearly, elder." The elder turned to the council, voice low but carrying. "These are not weapons. They are beacons. Gateways. And if humanity has found one, they may soon find them all." "Gateways to what?" demanded the feathered envoy. The elder's answer was simple, terrifying. "To whatever came before us." On the Erebus, the console began to project a star map. Thousands of points of light filled the chamber, each glowing faintly. But one burned brighter than the rest, far beyond known territory. Rourke's voice was barely above a whisper. "It's showing us a path." Mira stared at the map. "Sir, do we follow it?" Rourke looked at his crew, at the stars, at the unknown waiting ahead. "Yes," he said. "Because whatever's out there, whoever left this behind, they wanted someone to find it. And now, we're the ones holding the key." Far across the galaxy, the Council of Nine realized the same thing. Humanity was no longer just a threat. They were a door. The galaxy was no longer divided. For the first time in centuries, rival empires set aside grudges, rivalries, and ancient blood feuds. Not for peace, but for fear. Humanity had found something older than the stars, and that meant the balance of power could shatter at any moment. In the Concorde chamber, debate turned into strategy. Maps of space stretched across the holographic table, highlighting the signal's origin, the path that the human ship had uncovered. A single glowing point lay far beyond the edges of explored space, deep in the black. Admiral Thress slammed his claw against the map. "They cannot be allowed to reach it. If these humans unlock what lies there, we will never contain them again." A feathered envoy leaned forward, talons tapping. "And if they have already learned to use it?" The Zorati elder, silent until now, finally spoke. "Then the galaxy will no longer belong to us. It will belong to whoever left the beacons, and to the ones who awakened them." A decision was made. Multiple fleets would mobilize. Some would hunt. Some would intercept. And some would watch from the shadows. On the Erebus, tension grew heavier with each passing hour. The relay station had provided the coordinates, but the route was dangerous, through uncharted sectors filled with gravitational storms, debris fields, and pirate strongholds. Yet the real danger wasn't the void. It was the pursuit. Commander Rourke stood in the center of the control deck, eyes fixed on the star map projected by the console. "Navigation. Course plotted, sir," said Mira, though her tone carried unease. "But long-range scans show movement. Multiple contacts. Not close, but they're spreading through nearby sectors." "Fleets," Vance muttered. "They're coming for us." Rourke didn't deny it. "Then we stay ahead of them. Full power to stealth drives. Minimal emissions." The Erebus surged forward, slipping into the black like a ghost. But its journey would not be silent. Across alien networks, word spread that the humans were moving. Small scout ships began to shadow them from extreme distances. And then came the first attempt. The ambush happened near the edges of a nebula. 3 alien cruisers, sleek, silver, and faster than anything Earth had built, slipped from the clouds and cut across the Erebus's path. Their weapons lit up, energy building to lethal strength. "They want to disable us," Mira said, scanning the patterns. Not destroy. They want the ship. Rourke's eyes hardened. Not happening. The alien cruisers opened fire. Beams of green plasma streaked across the void, but none reached their target. The Erebus shifted, shimmering out of normal space for a fraction of a second before reappearing behind its attackers. Protocol Orion flared once more, releasing a controlled pulse. Not enough to destroy, only to paralyze. The alien ships went dark, drifting helplessly into the nebula. But as the crew exhaled in relief, a faint voice crackled through the comms. Not human. Not alien. Ancient. The sound was low, fractured, almost a whisper through time. Seeker, found. Gate, awaits. Beware, the Watchers. The voice faded. No language processor could decode the distortion fully. Yet the message was clear. Whoever built the beacons had expected someone to come. But they had also left a warning. Myra's hands trembled slightly over her console. Sir, that wasn't from the alien ships. No, Rourke said softly. That was from ahead. Across the galaxy, the same signal was detected by alien networks. The Concorde chamber fell into silence as the audio played across the council floor. No one spoke for several seconds. Finally, the Zorati elder broke the silence. The builders have spoken. Admiral Thress slammed a clawed hand down. Builders or not, the humans cannot reach them. Yet, as the council argued, another voice entered the discussion. One not from the Nine, but from the shadows of the chamber. A holographic figure, hooded, face unseen. I know who the Watchers are, it said. And if the humans wake them, none of us will survive. Back aboard the Erebus, Rourke studied the stars ahead. The coordinates burned brighter than ever on the console. But now, something else pulsed in the map. A faint line, leading not only to the gate but to something between. Something large. A station. Mira guessed. Rourke shook his head. No. Something bigger. Vance looked uneasy. Commander, if this is a trap, we won't get a second chance. Rourke didn't turn. He only stared at the stars. It's not a trap. It's a test. And humanity intends to pass. The stars grew darker. 4 days, the Erebus drifted toward the coordinates pulsing on the ancient map. Each hour brought new tension, not only from the alien fleets that shadowed them, but from the unknown waiting at their destination. No one knew what the gate would look like. No one knew what it would do. But when the crew finally saw it, they forgot how to breathe. It floated in the void like a wound in reality. A colossal ring, larger than a planet, constructed from metal and stone that shimmered like liquid glass. Symbols older than history pulsed faintly along its surface, casting ghostly light across the dark. The interior of the ring was not empty. It swirled with shifting colors, as though a fragment of another universe bled through. Dear God, Vance whispered, staring at the view screen. That thing isn't just a gate. It's alive. Mira scanned frantically, her console flooding with unreadable data. No known energy signatures. No known alloys. I don't even think this was built in our galaxy. Commander Rourke said nothing. He simply watched, his face calm but his knuckles white on the railing. Then the alarms began. Long-range sensors flared. Multiple signatures. Dozens. Alien fleets, fast, vast and armed, slipped into the sector, surrounding the colossal gate from every angle. War banners from 5 empires glimmered in the dark. The Concorde of 9 had come in force. A transmission cut through the silence. Admiral Thress appeared on the holographic display, his scaled features gleaming under harsh light. Humans, you have gone far enough. Step away from the artifact and surrender your vessel. Rourke did not flinch. You don't understand what this is. Thress bared his teeth. I understand enough. If you unlock it, you will bring ruin to us all. Or salvation, Rourke said quietly. The Admiral's claws tapped the arm of his chair. You think you can control what built this? Foolish ape. It was not meant for you. On the Council's flagship, debates broke out. Some captains demanded immediate attack. Others wanted to wait, to study the humans from a distance. But time was running out, because the gate had begun to stir. Lights rippled across its surface, glowing brighter, patterns forming like veins of fire. Energy surged through its core, and the swirling interior began to stabilize into a blinding white circle. The gate was activating. Myra's voice cracked through the tense silence of the Erebus's deck. Sir, it's responding to us. The map is sending a signal. It wants us to go through. Vance turned sharply. Through? Into what? Another system. Another galaxy? Another reality? Rourke didn't answer. Because he didn't know. The alien fleets made their decision first. Destroy them. Thress roared. Destroy the gate, if necessary. Weapons charged across dozens of ships, glowing like stars preparing to go supernova. The crew of the Erebus tensed. Mira whispered. Sir, we can't survive this. Not even with Orion. Rourke finally turned, his voice low and steady. We don't have to survive it. We just have to reach the gate. The battle erupted like lightning across the void. Alien ships fired in unison, beams of burning plasma lancing toward the Erebus, but the old human vessel danced through space, vanishing and reappearing in impossible arcs. Each pulse of protocol Orion bought them seconds, no more. Shields crackled. Hull plating burned. The void lit with fire. But the Erebus did not turn back. It plunged toward the gate as alien destroyers closed in from all sides, weapons locked, ready to tear it apart. Then it happened. The gate released a pulse, not from human control, but from itself. A wave of light spread outward, freezing every alien ship in place. Power died. Engines stalled. Weapons flickered out. Only the Erebus continued forward, drawn by invisible force. As the ship crossed the threshold, the crew felt a strange pull, as if falling without moving. The stars outside blurred, twisted, vanished. The last thing they saw was the stunned faces of alien captains, helpless to stop them. And then, silence. The Erebus emerged into a place no human, or alien, had seen. A black expanse filled with structures the size of moons. Towers of light and shadow, suspended in nothingness, stretching farther than sight. Energy flowed through them like rivers, pulsing with ancient life. Mira whispered, barely able to form words. This isn't space. Rourke nodded slowly. No. This is somewhere else. Far across the galaxy, in the council chamber, silence reigned as the last transmission from the Erebus played across their screens, images of the gate's other side. The Zorati elder spoke first, voice trembling. The builders have returned. Admiral Thress growled, claws curling tight. No. The humans have returned. And now, nothing will be the same. Silence ruled the void beyond the gate. The Erebus drifted among colossal structures that seemed to defy reality. They were not ships. They were not stations. They were monuments or machines, left behind by a civilization far older than the galaxy itself. Their surfaces pulsed with veins of pale light, as though the entire place was alive. Inside the command deck, no one spoke for a long time. Even the hum of the engines seemed too loud. Finally, Mira broke the silence. Commander, what is this place? Rourke stared at the towering spires outside, his voice low. A sanctuary. Or a tomb. The crew initiated scans, but the data made no sense. Distances stretched and folded in impossible ways. Energy levels were off the charts, yet stable, as though the place had been waiting patiently for countless millennia. Then a faint signal reached them. Not hostile. Not alien. A voice. It was clearer than before, though still fractured with static. Seeker. Confirmed. Gatekeeper. Engaged. The Watchers. Will come. The words froze the crew. Mira swallowed hard. The Watchers. What are they? No one answered. The Erebus pressed deeper into the strange expanse, drawn toward a structure unlike the others, a sphere larger than a moon, suspended by beams of light. Its surface shimmered like liquid metal, forming patterns that seemed to shift as they watched. As they approached, a sudden projection appeared within the control deck, a figure of light, vaguely humanoid, its features blurred as though viewed through water. Spoke. Not in words but in thoughts. You are not the first. But you may be the last. The crew froze. Rourke stepped forward, his voice steady. Who are you? The figure tilted its head. We are echoes. Fragments. What remains of those who came before. Our time has ended. But yours has just begun. Myra's hands trembled on her console. What is this place? The archive, the figure replied. The sum of 1,000 civilizations, and the warning they left behind. Before anyone could speak, the figure extended an arm toward the sphere. The surface rippled, and an image formed, vast star systems, teeming with life. Fleets, colonies, worlds, then fire. Endless fire. Whole civilizations burned, consumed by something unseen. The image shifted. Shadows spread through space, countless and formless, devouring everything. The builders fought. They built weapons, gates, refuges. But one by one, their worlds fell. They came from beyond, the figure said. Not life. Not death. A hunger that does not end. We called them the Watchers. The crew stood in stunned silence. They destroyed you? Vance finally asked. The figure's light dimmed slightly. Not destroyed. Consumed. Absorbed into their endless pattern. We built the gates to hide. To store what was left. And to wait. For one who could open the path. Rourke's eyes narrowed. Why us? Why humanity? Because you are unseen, the figure answered. The Watchers know the old empires. They have measured their strength, learned their ways. But you are new. Unexpected. Unwritten in their pattern. Before more could be said, alarms blared. Myra's eyes widened at her console. Commander. I'm detecting multiple energy spikes. Not from the structures. From the gate. Vance's voice went hard. Something's coming through. The figure's light flared suddenly. They have seen you. The Watchers come. At the edge of the archive, the gate shimmered, and from its surface poured shadows. Vast shapes, shifting like living smoke, their forms barely holding shape. Dozens. Hundreds. Their presence made the very void shiver. The crew watched in horror as the shadows spread, surrounding the colossal ring. Energy readings spiked off the scale. They followed us, Mira whispered. Rourke stood tall, eyes fixed on the growing darkness. No. They were always coming. We just gave them a reason to hurry. Back in known space, alien fleets that had surrounded the gate reeled as the first shadows emerged. Even mighty warships trembled, their shields dimming under a pressure no weapon could explain. In the Concord chamber, chaos erupted. Some demanded retreat. Others called for alliance. But the Zorati elder said what they all feared to admit. They have awakened, he whispered. And now, only humanity stands between them and everything we know. The shadows closed in. The Watchers, vast and shifting, flowed through the gate like a living tide. Their forms twisted in the void, faceless yet aware, each movement bending space around them. Energy readings surged beyond comprehension. Alien fleets on the other side of the gate fired desperately, their weapons blazing in brilliant arcs, but the beams passed through the Watchers like light through smoke. The shadows kept coming. Inside the Erebus, alarms screamed. The ship's hull groaned under forces it couldn't understand. Yet Commander Rourke stood calm at the center of the deck, his eyes fixed on the glowing sphere within the archive. The figure of light returned, its voice resonating inside their minds. The Watchers cannot be fought as you fight fleets. They are not of this place. They do not die as you understand death. Vance gritted his teeth. Then what do we do? Sit here and wait for them to consume us too. The figure pulsed once. No. You awaken the core. The sphere's surface shifted again, revealing a swirling storm of light and shadow inside. Vast structures floated within it, machines the size of continents, dormant yet radiating unimaginable energy. Mira stared in disbelief. Is that a weapon? Not a weapon, the figure replied. A spark. A seed of what we were. It carries the sum of our knowledge. Our power. Our hope. But it needs a host. The crew turned toward Rourke. Outside, the watchers pressed closer, their shadowy forms wrapping around the archive like a storm cloud ready to break. Alien fleets on the other side of the gate had stopped firing, watching instead as the phenomenon spread. Across the galaxy, every broadcast carried the same image, humanity's lone ship, standing before something beyond reason. Rourke's voice was steady, almost calm. If I do this, what happens? You will become the first of a new kind, the figure answered. Neither builder, nor human, but both. And through you, your species will rise. The deck went silent. Mira shook her head. Sir, this could kill you. Vance added, or worse. It could change you into something, not human at all. Rourke smiled faintly. Maybe. But humanity didn't come this far to turn back now. He stepped toward the sphere. The surface rippled, parting like liquid light. Rourke placed his hand on it, and the sphere responded. Lines of energy raced up his arm, across his chest, into his eyes, flooding his body with searing brilliance. He staggered, gripping the sphere tighter as if it were anchoring him. Then, in a burst of light, his body lifted from the deck. The figure of light spoke, its voice echoing louder than before. The gatekeeper awakens. Outside, the archive blazed to life. The colossal structures pulsed with radiant energy, sending beams of light toward the watchers. The shadows recoiled, not in pain, but in hesitation, as if sensing something had changed. From the Erebus, Mira watched in awe as Rourke descended back to the deck. But his eyes now glowed faintly, like twin stars. Commander, she whispered. Rourke turned to her, his voice resonant, layered with something beyond human. No. Not just Commander. Not anymore. He raised his hand toward the void. The archive responded. Beams of pure energy surged outward, striking the watchers. Not to destroy, but to bind. Light wove around their forms, twisting, folding, pulling them back toward the gate. The shadows thrashed, struggling, but the archive's power only grew stronger, resonating through Rourke like a living conduit. One by one, the watchers were drawn back into the gate. On the other side, alien fleets stared in stunned silence as the colossal ring blazed like a newborn star. A wave of light rippled outward, washing over their ships, not as a weapon, but as a warning. The watchers were gone. For now. Back within the archive, the light began to fade. Rourke exhaled slowly, his body trembling from the energy coursing through him. Yet his voice was steady. It's done. The figure of light nodded. For now. But the watchers are not gone. Only delayed. They will return, stronger. Myra's voice trembled. Then what do we do? Rourke turned toward her, and toward the countless spires stretching into infinity. We prepare, he said. We build. We learn. And next time, we won't be alone. Across the galaxy, alien leaders watched the last transmission from the Erebus, Rourke standing before the glowing sphere, his voice echoing across every channel. Humanity has found the Builder's legacy. But this is not ours alone. It belongs to all who choose to stand together. Silence followed. And then, for the first time in galactic history, no one laughed.